the context for me and the context just in my family and in my work is very much well, with my work, it's really just getting through GCSEs with several students and wrapping up the year's worth of exams. Some are done, some are right in the eye of the storm now, preparing for through this half term for their exams next week. Um, yeah, some handing in their GCSEs in this weird year, handing in their basket, their kind of bundle of all the stuff they've done to be judged for their GCSEs in this strange way. That's a home ed student that I'm thinking of particularly. And yeah, it's an intense time of year for those that are doing exams. For parents and for children, it's an intense time of year. So yeah, I feel like we're all just ready to. One of the great things about it is that eventually we time out, like the time runs out, and I've seen this every year. Really, the great relief, really for all students, that the time just runs out. Eventually, it is the exam. And actually, not so much this year because it's been so unclear. But in some ways, there's a deadline there where we're out of time. You go into the exam, or you just have the deadline, and it's over. And then, however messy it's been, whatever's happened, however much of a roller coaster ride it's been, soon you're liberated back into just the fact that it's over and there's nothing you can do about it. And I think many students get a great deal of maturity after GCSEs or after their big exams, when they're in their first big exams, if you're in a different educational system. There's a sense of perspective around just how worried or how exasperated or how avoidant or how anything dysfunctional relating to stepping up for these exams, how over the top all of that was. And so then going into the next phase, in this country, A levels, or going into the next phase of academic learning, wherever you are, there's a sense of like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. That was totally over the top, completely ridiculous, really. We've built this system where apparently our lives depend on these exam results. They really don't. I understand the flip side of that they're keys to getting into the next place and a platform for life in some ways, but there is a natural wisdom that comes out of this, reflecting on just going totally over the top with anxiety and pressure, and yeah, um, yeah, really going through the ringer, trying to get through this pretty intense process. So that's great. That's great. It's great that time runs out. Eventually, you just can't suffer anymore. If that's how it's been for you or for your children. So yeah, that's one aspect of the time right now. Half term, I'm expecting that many of you won't be watching. You'll be just very busy with family. So I hope you're having a lovely time all together. And yeah, I just wanted to share just something around my own time with the family. We went off and had a beautiful camping few days. And I really recommend like making that kind of time. We've often kind of skipped half terms in some ways. I'm usually like doubly busy in the holidays and half term teaching than I am in the term time. So sometimes I've skipped it, but I've really, wow, taking that time to be with our children now when they're out of school is just essential. That reset to be with each other. We went to Pembrokeshire and went camping for 3 days, and it was just stunning, surfing, beautiful weather, and really important to, it's shown me just how essential it is to touch in our very busy lives and in our slightly strange social systems where the parents can just be so busy working and the kids kind of can be overlooked for a long period of time where they're not really getting our full attention. And certainly with one of my children, I really see that the solution to many of their difficulties right now, or is to do with just attention, more than just attention in a way, or more simply than attention, just having time with us, having time with mum and dad, or however your family looks, having time um, with their parents or with their primary caregiver. Yeah, so that's one thing that we've resolved, my wife and I, um, just to make sure we do carve out that time now. Also, we're a family of four, and something that happens is that we don't find that one-to-one time. Me and my daughter, me and my son, my wife and our daughter, my wife and our son, to separate the unit. We exist pretty well as a foursome. um, but it's the something really, a bit of a strain there with the dynamic when we don't really lock in one-on-one. And of course that includes, me and my wife making sure we have that time to one-on-one. Yeah, so that's what we've resolved now for this half term, is to find that. And also just ongoingly, I've been super busy these last 3-4 months with work, but it will tail off now. And so my plan is to have a weekly activity or a weekly time. And I've talked about this in this group before. It's a brilliant way to empower and harmonize everything in your child and in your relationship with your child, to have that special time once a week or more, or less. It could be less, but once a week I think is great. It could be a regular thing as well. Then it's just booked in, where you are with your child, just you two, and they get to choose what you're going to do. You can kind of make it work together, evolve it together, pick an idea of what they would most like to do. Of course, it changes over time as well. And something, you could be doing something for a while and then change it up a bit, find some new idea. Hey, why don't we spend our Wednesday afternoon a few hours, now it's summer, we could do anything. I feel like after my daughter's football session, when I take her to football on Tuesdays, now it's late enough, we could late, we can go out for dinner or something, the two of us together, or just take a picnic and have dinner, just the two of us, rather than rushing back home to be with the rest of the family. Take that time to really just to be together, to leave that open space where also things can be said. This has become a bit of a worry for me, just being so busy that I just don't really know what's going on for both of my children. I check in, I look at them, I observe. I'm always looking to see if they're well and how it's going, and try and find out what I can. But those often aren't the times to kind of get the real goods, to get the real information. The down times, the times when you're just openly, spaciously hanging out, whether that's 3 days of camping or the weekly kind of activity with your child. Those are the times when you could just be doing something, and there's an opportunity then doing something really opening, that just opens everybody up to feel good, feel connected, and feel like other things can be said about what really is going on. And it's amazing how the mind works. It's amazing how children are, that those are the times when they will bring up things that are like, okay, wow, that is interesting to hear about that friend at school, or whatever it might be that doesn't get answered when you say, how was your day at school? That's not what they say, the good or the bad about what's happening in the playground or with the teacher, or their relationship with their sibling, or whatever it might be, anything. So yeah, I really believe in creating those moments, and that's my commitment to my family for this next few months, at least, to get into more of a rhythm of being with my son, being with my daughter, and being with my wife one-to-one. Yeah, and half term, I just thought half term was like it's a great time to reflect on what our kids actually like to do. How are we helping to empower their strengths, gifts, and talents? Um, without making another project of it. um, how are we opening up? We've got all this free time, which can be, again, within this kind of schooling system and social system, can be a bit like, wow, what do we do? We're so used to being told what to do. How do we hang out? What are the activities? What does my daughter or son actually like to do with like a whole week of time? What do we like to do together, and what do they like to do themselves? So yeah, it's a great opportunity for reflection on what are the activities that are special to them. What are the interests that they have, and how could we kind of nudge them along? How could we use this time to explore further, whatever it might be: love of nature, love of animals, love of sports, um, yeah, and just going to lovely places where everyone has a natural interest, like the beach or a wood. Um, yeah, I think it's such at the moment in the UK, it's amazing weather, so it's such a great time for camping if you like that kind of thing, or just getting out into that kind of environment, even if you're not staying overnight. For families, that's what does it for us. And yeah, also, yeah, play dates with friends. Like as parents, we do have this role where we can really facilitate like the play dates that we also think are most supportive for our children, not just the ones that happen to, the phone rings and someone else wants a play date with our child. What play dates do we kind of want our children to be having? Like, which are the friends that really do nourish them and give them, just bring the best out of them? And yeah. And finally, yeah, just the fun times, creating the fun times. Obviously, like, I don't know, I've just written down movies. It's really lame. That's probably says more about me and my tiredness in my work than it does about what's actually good to do as a family or parent. But yeah, just creating the good times all together as well. I've talked a bit about like finding the activities that our children might like to do with us one-on-one, even if that's just going and getting an ice cream. But the good times is that the gold dust we talked about once in this group, and creating those moments where everyone is just really happy and relaxed, and watching a nice movie and all that kind of thing.